Minecraft dog stuck in a wall versus real dog stuck in a wall. Now, I gotta say, that dog looks absolutely adorable. 10 out of 10. Would pet the life out of that dog. Looks kind of like a Shiba Inu. And oh man, I love Shiba Inus. They're just the most adorable things. But definitely live dog versus the Minecraft dog. Live dog wins every single time because I can indeed pet live dog in real life, and I cannot pet Minecraft dog in real life. Now, I am a huge animal fan, and I will absolutely love pretty much any dog that comes across my path, but that doesn't mean that I think that all dogs are cute. There are some absolutely hideous dogs out there, but I still love them. I mean, you gotta just love them. They're dogs. What else are you gonna do? EA 15 minutes after you purchase their $60 game. Give me more now. Yeah, I know, right? They don't stop. Now, I'm actually really happy to hear, what's his name? Risotto? Something Risotto? Has gotten into quite a bit of trouble. I think that he's been let go from Unity for his greedy practices, and he was let go of EA for his greedy little practices. And this is kind of the problem when you get way too greedy for your own britches there. You know, you just want as much money as you can possibly get from something. Now, paradoxically, if you want the most money you can get from something, try and make it or try and charge as little as possible for it, because then a lot of people are going to buy it. You know, make it an actual deal. I think that a lot of game companies are sitting there seeing dollar signs over the fact that their games can indeed pull in large numbers, and they see other games and other applications that are charging thousands for their services. What they don't realize is that their whole base are those thousands, like their whole base. And if you upset one customer, then you're losing at least $1,000, and if not more. EA is upsetting a huge amount of their buyer base just with their greedy practices. And so they're charging more and more and giving less and less. And so in the end, greed actually doesn't pay off as well as many greedy people think. Finish him. I don't wanna. Homework. Andy and homework. Yeah, 12 a.m. This was never a problem for me in school. I was kind of like the stereotypical good kid. There was not really much that I got in trouble for, and I never missed a homework assignment in my last 4 years of school. So I never missed a day of my last 4 years of school. Anyway, I was that stereotypical good kid, always did his homework, never had any problems with teachers or parents or anything. Like, I was just kind of there. But it's like, you know, guys, don't ignore your homework. Like, don't ignore things just because you want to play video games. I understand that video games are far more fun, but you'll be able to play far more video games if you actually do your homework and get into better jobs because you have more accreditations to your name. For example, you know, I have, of course, the scholarships that I got from school because I did so well. And I also have National Honor Society and all this other stuff that I can put on resumes, and a lot of jobs that would pay higher for certain positions do actually look at that stuff and will hire me for those better paying positions, and I'm in a better position to negotiate my pay. So when I negotiate better pay because I did better in school, I can buy more video games. So it is worth it to sacrifice your hour or two of actual enjoyment and playing a video game for now to just finish the homework. So, not saying that it's fair, not even saying that homework should be something that schools require, but if it is required and it is given, then just do the homework. It looks really good. I don't get it. Oh my gosh. Okay, somebody explain this now. Thanks. I love how people who know keep blogging this without any explanation. What? I mean, how can you not know what that is? I mean, I'm going to spoil it here, but I mean, how can you not realize that that's a Portal reference? the blue and the orange, which have always been the colors associated with Portal, unless you're multiplayer and you got the second controller, I guess. But yeah, fork goes in one way, comes out the other. Like, the reference is so incredibly obvious. I think that the only people who wouldn't get this are people who actually aren't gamers. And so, I don't know, if you're not a gamer, you're probably not watching my channel anyway. And if you are a gamer, then I'm not really spoiling this for you, because it took me all of half a second to figure that out. So I figure that there are gamers that are far better than me, and you'll probably figure it out a lot faster than I did. So if I can figure it out, pretty much anyone who is into games can figure it out, especially because Portal is such an awesome game. Like, that game, seriously, they captured lightning in a bottle with such a simple concept, and then having GLaDOS there, and they had the perfect voice acting and the perfect funny lines and one-liners, and I even liked Wheatley in the second one. It's a perfect game. Absolutely love it. Gravestones in about 50 years. F. Yes, press F to pay respects. Now, I guess in this case, your gravestone is F, so everyone who sees it would be paying respects. I guess. Like, I'm not entirely sure. I don't even remember what game this came from, but I know that it's a long-standing meme in the gaming community, simply because of the simpleness that you press F to pay respects. And I'm not entirely sure why they did it and why they put it in the game. And one of the things that I think that they could have done it for is the fact that maybe for loading purposes, they needed to make the player kind of interact with something to slow them down just a bit, because it probably takes you a while to actually realize they're actually asking me to press F here. So that's one thought. I doubt that it's correct. It's probably just some oversight or whatnot, something they added to the game and didn't take out later. But that's something that I could think of. Me. People talking about D&D in public. Now, I've never played D&D. I know that Baldur's Gate is based off of D&D, which is why I've included it inside this compendium here. But this is definitely me with video games, like any type of video games. And that looks like a Marlboro from Final Fantasy. But any games that people are talking about that I like or play, I'm absolutely gonna interject and listen in or whatnot. And a lot of times they're in public places and they don't really mind. And if you read the room, if people really don't want you to intervene inside their conversations, you don't. But if they're really open and they're talking very happily about certain subjects, then yeah, you can absolutely join in. I'm more introverted, so the occasions in which this happens is more like at work or at home or during a family get-together or something like that. But there have been a few occasions in which they've talked about a game that I love so much that I just have to interject my ideas. People are usually pretty receptive to it, so it's not necessarily being the monster in the room, but it is one of those things where you can be a little pushy. Mysteries that cannot be solved yet. The interior of a black hole. Anything divided by 0. How is that not a headshot? Dark matter. Well, I think that a lot of these mysteries can indeed be solved. I mean, anything divided by 0 is just infinite because, it's a infinite to the infinite power, simply because 0 would never be able to be multiplied enough times to go into X. And, you do use that equation at times, I think. I'm pretty sure that there's a purpose in math for it. But it's like, it's basically infinity. You'll never reach the end of it, so it is infinite. As for the other stuff, interior of a black hole, of course they have, theories and stuff like that. But how was that not a headshot? Yeah, that one will never be solved. You will always go around thinking about how it is that you lined things up so perfectly that it became not a headshot. Now, you see, I have another problem with this. Like, how is that not a headshot? No, how did I miss? Like, how did I miss entirely? Not just a headshot, but how did I miss entirely? You would think that having your bead right on somebody, and like, especially now that I'm playing Bloodborne, you'd think like being right in range, it would be impossible to miss. But I still miss. I don't know how I do it. I'm good at being bad, I guess. 600 kilos of Roman coins discovered in a Spanish town, and a vase. Heavy breathing. Yeah, absolutely. Link would be all over that. He would find out where the Spanish town is, and there would not be any vases left, nor Roman coins. I mean, after all, the whole point of him breaking the pots is for him to get money, and he can get pretty rich doing that. And I wish I could have half the finances that guy has just for breaking pots. But yeah, in the end, Link, he's got a problem. Slight addiction there, you know. It's almost time for an intervention. I think that Zelda and Ganondorf should kind of set aside their differences for a little bit, you know, and intervene with Link about his pot smashing, grass cutting obsessions in search of money that is definitely there, but that he shouldn't be so obsessed about. Now, back in my day, when you got killed in a game, you had to start everything from the beginning. Yep, I was there during this time of, I guess, gaming history, in which you die and you start everything over. The NES wasn't as bad with it, but the NES still had games that did that after a certain amount of deaths, usually a lot higher. Like, I know the Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the NES, you could have it set so that you have 9 continues and 9 lives per continue, so it would take you a long time, but there would still be a point where if you died enough, then you got sent right back to the very beginning. And they did that so that it would pad the game time, the play time, just because if it's really hard, you can't rush through it. Now, granted, there are people who got so good they did rush through it, but the majority of people wouldn't have that kind of patience. So it helped them to pad their runtime during a time in which you didn't really have extensive story mode or anything else like that. Losing to my little nephew on purpose. All is well. Losing to my little nephew on accident. Ernie prepares to commit a crime. To commit a hate crime. Ernie prepares to commit a hate crime, absolutely. Yeah, you don't lose accidentally to those who are inferior to you. Now, granted, a lot of kids these days are growing up literally with game paddles in their hands and tablets and phones, so there is a very good chance that a lot of the smaller kids are going to be better than you at some point. But, you know, it until you reach that point, then you let them think that you're losing to them on purpose. You know, you don't let go of that little bit of pride you have left. When you're about to burgle someone, but they're playing Zelda. Yep, I used to do this with my aunt all the time. Not burgle, of course, but I would sit there in her room while she played Legend of Zelda, and I would just sit there and watch her for hours. She was really the one that actually got me into gaming, is because when I was young, I saw her playing the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and I was just fascinated by it. And so I can pretty much trace all of my gaming back to my aunt who introduced me to it. But yeah, if I was ever in, I guess, at odds with the law, then this would absolutely happen with me. I'd go in to burgle somebody's house or do something nefarious, and I'd see them playing a video game, and I'd probably just sit down and watch them play video games, and then I'd be like, not really worth the effort to do anything to this guy, so I'm gonna leave him alone. What are the best PlayStation 2 games? Me, Resident Evil 4, Grand Theft Auto, and Need for Speed Underground 2. Now, those are great games, but I don't think that they're the best PlayStation 2 games. Like, if you ask me, the best PlayStation 2 game of all time was Final Fantasy X. Absolutely loved that game. It had epic cutscenes The gameplay was fun. It was a long game, had great storyline, and some really memorable characters, especially Ornn. Like, I thought that Ornn was just like the coolest thing. But, yeah, I had a little bit different experience with PlayStation 2. I remember like this PsyOps game, and I remember X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was really cool. There are a lot of really cool games for the PlayStation 2. They used to have some really good stuff, really fun to play, and good mechanics. Claims to have the triforce of courage, can't talk to girls. Well, it's not so much that he can't talk to girls, as much as the fact that he can't talk to anyone. You know, Link seems to be more of a mute, and I think that that's more player, I guess player introduced, player sensitive type thing than actual world building, because Link throughout the entirety of the game series, up until Breath of the Wild, I think, which actually brought up his kind of speechlessness, but throughout the entirety, he has been able to communicate fairly effectively. And I mean, it's just in the cutscenes and like his speaking parts which aren't there, and there was a reason for that. It's because the creator of The Legend of Zelda wanted anyone to be able to put themselves into the place of Link and be the hero, you know. And so, but definitely, I would have this entire problem in the fact that I also could not talk to anybody, even if I had the Triforce of Courage. It's just too annoying. Not annoying to talk to people, but too annoying to get over the introversion to talk to people. So usually it's just not worth the exasperation that it causes to me. So I'll let people talk to me and I'll engage in conversation if necessary, but it's not my first priority. PC gamers going around watching a monkey fight between PlayStation gamers and Xbox gamers. Nintendo gamers are sipping their tea while mobile gamers are turning the other way. As many people think that they should, but I'm not one of those people. We're all gamers here. You know, this channel is dedicated to the gamers, built by a gamer for gamers. It's just a gamer sanctuary. That's what I want here. And so I enjoy all of these. I have all of the game systems you could possibly imagine, and I play them pretty regularly. Now, there are some of my game systems which are in my old house and the old state that I used to live in, but I do have them, and eventually I'll get them back over with me. But I do have my Nintendo, and I have my PlayStation, Xbox from whenever. It's just fun. Like, being part of the gaming community is really like having extended family. And unless you're in a really toxic relationship with the gaming community for the games that you really like, you're going to find welcoming and enjoyable conversation and groups that share your passion for whatever game it is. And so it's just a wonderful group. It's a wonderful place to be. Horror game. Adjust the brightness so that the logo is barely visible. Me. No, I don't think I will. And there's good reason to not to. I mean, after all, many times the TV in which you're playing on doesn't have the best lighting to begin with. All these settings to deal with and everything. It's just not a good situation to deal with the lighting on the TV anyway. And then they have the game, which is purposely darkened so that it adds to the tension and stuff like that. No, I'm sorry, like, if scary games are not as scary with your brightness a little bit higher, then you need to make a better scary game. You need to make a better horror game. It's just one of those things that there are so many games that can handle the horror in such a great way, whether the lighting is bright or not, that you should be able to too. You know, and I'm not saying that every game has to. Not every game that has a horror base has to be fantastic. It's just one of those things where it's like, if it's completely broken down by the fact that your screen is a little bit brighter, then it's not really the brightness of the screen that's the problem. It's the quality of the game. World's largest emerald up for auction. Minecraft villager for 3 wheat. Yeah, any of my Minecraft followers in here? Any of you guys like Minecraft? I don't care much for Minecraft, but I can see the allure and attraction to it. It is one of those things where when you're playing survival, then it can be entertaining because of the crafting experience. But I tend to like things like Don't Starve a little bit better, and I also like some of the other survival type games a bit better than I do Minecraft, which to me, the only reason why I don't really care much for Minecraft is there isn't really much variety in it. You're always doing kind of the same thing. And in the end, you know, besides the mods and the other things that people are building on the side, the main game is fairly short. You know, I was playing with my nephew a year or so ago, and I think like within the first 10 or so minutes I had already found diamonds, because what do? You just dig down and dig across and eventually you'll reach diamonds. But it's like, and then trying to figure out the other stuff that you do to reach the end and the Ender Dragon and all that stuff. So, but absolutely I know this about the villagers, that they trade emeralds for stuff, and that would be absolutely something that they do. Cat in a backpack. Cat was not the imposter. Does kind of look like the, what is that game called? Among Us. Kind of does look like Among Us, but once again, it's a game that I don't play because I don't care much for online gaming. I don't care much for playing with other players. Other players are so much better than me that there's really no point. Like, I sit there and I get trashed by every single online player base that I've ever played against, besides those little IO games in which I can easily get to number 1. But it's just more annoyance than it's worth to sit there and try and get good at a game where there's some people who have been literally spending their whole lives doing it. And it's like, you guys can go ahead and be the best. I'll figure something else out to be the best at. But yeah, the cat is really cute and looks like one of those stubby-legged cats. I love it. Mom trying to delete all my PC games. Super frustrated. Me watching her delete the desktop icons. Now you see, this would be something that would happen when I was a kid. Now, my mom was always very intelligent, so she would have known exactly what how to delete these games. But like when I was younger, I absolutely did have friends whose moms would have done this and just deleted the icons. But let me tell you something. If you don't correct her and tell her, hey, you're just deleting the icons, then when she realizes what has happened, you're going to be losing a lot more than the games that she was trying to delete. And a lot of the times, the PC games are backed up to the cloud, so it doesn't matter whether she deletes them now and then later on down the line you can download them again, and many games, especially with Steam, upload to the cloud. But you're playing with fire. And so, but yeah, there are a lot of things that, and it's kind of funny, but there are a lot of things that can be affected with this, because there are some things that are loaded onto the desktop which getting deleted could pose problems, especially if you have specific files and stuff that are important for the running of the games right there on your desktop, which I know that some gamers do install things right onto their desktop, which deleting them could indeed cause you trouble. So the desktop icons are usually shortcuts, but not all the time. And so, anyway, just a little warning here for you kids who think that it's funny to watch your parents get angry and do some like circuitous and fruitless task. It's going to bite you in the butt a little bit later. Let me guarantee you that. I can also tell you that most mothers nowadays, they know. Most mothers, especially nowadays, kids can't get away with that. Maybe when I was younger, but not nowadays. Dead men tell no tales. Wrong, Your Honor. As a necromancer, I literally summoned my first witness, the victim. Ace Detective. Yeah, I never played this game, but I've watched a lot of the gameplay, and it looks like a really fun type of game that I will probably play out at one point. But that would definitely cause a lot of court cases to be resolved fairly quickly. Though then you have to question whether or not you are actually summoning the victim or you are summoning the look-alike of the victim to trick the court. You know, there's a lot of loopholes that you could get around the actual legality of doing stuff like this with. Especially because the victim is dead. But the idea there is hilarious. As a necromancer, I summon my first witness, the victim. If you like this video, help us out and subscribe. Join us Monday through Saturday as we upload gaming content every day. I hope that you enjoy the content and just chat with me. I love it. Talk to you guys later.